right? We saw how to trigger the build, PolSCM, GitHub, and all these we saw how to trigger the build. And then in the build section, we built the Java project by using the Maven build tool. So this local Maven is set up in the global tool configuration section. Then we selected this. If you have more tools available, you can select it here. Okay, so as we have only one, I selected, and the clean install last class I showed you what are the build life cycles and the commands. Okay, just follow that one. And the next one is the post build action, where what I have done here, just simple thing I have done, archiving the artifacts. So whatever the binary file generated, that I have archived it over here. Okay, so the next action is how will delivery the code, how will delivery the binary file at the end product to the staging environment for the further testing. Okay, so let's start that one. For that I need another server. Either I can do in the same server where the Jenkins server is installed, but normally it's not the case. Okay, what happens, we used to deliver the code to a different server, to a different remote server. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, let me quickly create one server, and from scratch I'll try to install the Tomcat, and I'll show you what are the settings you need to do the connectivity between Jenkins to the remote server. That is very important, otherwise Jenkins server will not able to deliver the files to the uh, remote server. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to create one more instances. So this is my Jenkins server is running, so let me create one more instance. So I'm just choosing this Amazon Linux 2. Okay, select, everything default, HTTP. Okay, as I'm going to make this server as my Tomcat server, and Tomcat server by default port is 8080 Okay, so for that I'm just going to create one. I can select what is the file. Okay, so I can select this Jenkins SSH HTTP. So if you see here, I have this port number 8080 and 22 is firewalled, whitelisted. Okay, these are the ports which are whitelisted, and I can select this one for the demo, right? So let's review and launch it, and select it. My new key. Let's it launch and start. Okay, so let's go ahead. So wait for a few seconds, let it come up, then we can. I already have Tomcat server created, but I just want to show you from the scratch so that you can able to do by yourself. Okay, so this will be fun, guys. If you do see, if you do by yourself, trying to install things, you'll face some issues. Try to debug it, try to fix it. Definitely, it will take some time. Don't just calm down or sit after you facing some type of issues and you're not able to fix it. Try to do it 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whole day. Just try to do it. But at last, if you get the solutions and you see the success, you will be happy, right? You'll satisfy that right you got it. So in this way, actually, you will be practiced. Otherwise, that will never you will never get experience by doing this. Okay. So again,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So again, I would suggest you. For Jenkins, just better go for Groovy scripting. Okay, just have some. I think most of you have some self scripting knowledge, right? So as Jenkins supports Groovy scripting, it's very easy, guys. It's very easy. Whoever has worked C, C++, Java, or Unix or scripting or anything, the syntax would be almost same ways. And most Groovy is actually related in the Java. It is designed in the Java. So whoever worked in Java, it will be easy for them. Okay. So um, like you can just go and because what I'm saying in my companies we are working mostly in these Groovy scripts. Okay, so we have to just be because it's very simple. If you look in 1 second, let me show you Groovy. So you can just go to the Groovy hyphen land. This is their official website. Okay, or there are lots of other tutorials which you can just follow, like Groovy tutorials point. That's sometimes I follow these tutorials because see, we are working on different languages. We'll not sometimes remember what exact syntax for that particular command. So what we need the logics. Once you got the manual procedure, you are going to do some automate. Then you have to find your own logic how to achieve that automation, right? How to achieve that automation. Then you have to come what you need. Then you can search in the Google. That's the best platform. And then you can just before doing that, just have a look. What type of data types? It's very simple. Decision making files, some loop strings, list. That's all, and some regular expression if you know, that will be better. Okay, and it will take hardly 1 week to and 2 weeks to complete this Groovy scripting. Okay, go through this document. Okay, I'll ping you this one, and you will be why I'm telling, because you are going to uh, work on this. Otherwise, see, all the time we have actually two types of scripting in Jenkins. When I go with the pipelines, right, that time I'll show you two types of the scripting. Okay, now, okay, so let's move into this. So what I'm going to do it here in the post build action, I'm going to add to delivery the artifacts into the staging server. Okay, so my staging server is off now. Let me go here. My staging server is off now. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll quickly go and install the softwares, and then this is very crucial, guys. This is very important. Just focus on this, how I am doing the setups, and the same way you also you have to do. Otherwise, the connectivity between the Jenkins and Tomcat server will not work. When we deliver, it will fail initially. Again, when I'll do this setup also, it will fail. We have to troubleshoot that. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing is, let me connect to the server. Okay, so let me update it. Okay, so it's completed now.
Ranjit bhai, can you please enlarge the terminal?
Okay, sorry guys. So, okay, let me install it. So there is a procedure I sent you in the group, WhatsApp group. Okay, so the documentation. First thing actually, Tomcat server also is a Java application, right? Java application. So what we need for that, we have to install the Java first. Okay, so let me see whether Java is okay. So here Java is not installed. The first thing is, let me quickly go ahead and install the Java. Okay, so I'm just going to use 1.8 JDK. It's already there. I don't have to search in Google and get it. So you can follow that same step, or if you want, you can just use Google to get the updated versions of Java also. Okay. So next step is, um, first one I installed JRE, Java runtime environment, and next time I'm going to install JDK. Okay, Java Development Kit. That is required. Sorry, is required to be installed. Oops. Okay, so that's installed properly, and this is very important, guys. What we have to do, we have to export the environment variables. Okay, so what is the environment variables? When you install this Java, the Java will be installed in the user library directory. Okay, so if I go to cd user leave, you will have one JVM folder. See, this JVM folder is installed. So go to this JVM folder. JVM is nothing but Java virtual machine, right? So here we'll find the JDK informations over here. See, Java Open JDK 1.80 Open JDK. Okay, so we can just give this one into the Java home path. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, simple things. I'm going to set up the home directory. So here what I have done is simple export Java underscore home, and same thing. See, this is the Linux command I'm going to use. But Windows, how you have to do in Windows also, the environment variables in the global environment variable setups in the Windows, you can do it by searching in that and find the services and some management window, right there you can set up the global environment variables. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add all uh, these two. I'm just going to create one Marvin, suppose one script. Okay, so why I'm going to do it, let me just go to the etc folder, cd etc slash etc. Okay, so you can directly set off here, or else we can just set off and add this into the profile.d file. Okay, directory, profile.d directory. So if I go profile.d, so what is this profile.d? Actually, this is a profile daemon directory where all the yeah. So what I'm going to do here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a small script here. Okay, suppose let me create as sudo vi tomcat for tomcat.sh. Okay, so I'm going to add these two variables like export java underscore home and give the java home path. Okay, so what is the java home path? You can just copy these two. Let me delete this line. Okay, so what I did here, I just created one environment variable and set up the path where the JDK path is there. Okay, where is the JDK installed, and then the path I just added this into the main path of the Unix terminal. Okay, so if I go here and save this, what happened? I can execute this profile.d, or I can just execute this. Suppose if I do Java version here, what happens? Java version, it will just give us 1.8. Okay, but if I do echo Java underscore home, it will not display. Oh, sorry, uh, dollar. Okay, it is not displaying us anything because it is not a set. Okay, so let me just execute this script. Okay, let me execute this script. So for that, what I have to do, you have to just restart the terminal. Okay, let me just close it out and then retry connecting. Okay, now I connected. If I do echo dollar java underscore home, see, it is automatically set up now. So what happened when I reconnected to the terminal? What happened? The profile dot d, whatever there in this profile dot d folder, all these script, the startup script, everything will be executed. So what I have added in this tomcat.sh, it is added to set the environment, global environment variables. Then it set it up this one. Okay, that's why I created. If you don't want to create a script and put it there, you can simply do whatever commands I put it there, you can simply execute it. Okay, so that is the setup is done. So Java is installed. Now what we have to do, we have to install the Tomcat server. Okay, Java. So install Tomcat is simple only. So what we have to do, we have to just download one zip file, tar file. Okay. So for that, I'm going to cd opt folder. Okay, optional folder. In this folder, I'm just going to download by using the wget command. Okay, by using the wget command. But for if you are going to install this Tomcat in your Windows server, simple, you just go to this path and download the entire tar file and then unzip it. Okay, sure guys, here there is a space actually. Up before 7 there was a space, it would have thrown error, but I got saw it now. Okay, let me download it.
Okay,
Okay.
Ranjit.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so each time when we create a server or instance, so each time we have to be install all that Java, that everything, right?
No, Java is required if you are working on a Java application. See, Jenkins is a Java application. Tomcat also is a Java application. To run a Java application, we need Java, JDK, and JRE should be there in the machines. Apart from that, any applications related to C, C++ or Python or anything, any other languages, .NET. For .NET, you should have .NET framework installed before running any .NET applications, right? So similarly, you have to install all this.
Okay,
You got my point, right? Because if the environment is not
yes, yes.
available, if a Java application can run on the Java environment, if the Java environment is not there, then how? Because the JVM, Java Virtual Machine, is required to run the applications. If the machines itself not there, then how the application will run? It will not run. So similarly, for .NET, for Python application, you should install Python before running any Python application, right? Similarly, for any Java application running, you should have Java installed. Okay. So here, what happens? Anyways, guys, you are not going to do all this installation in your company. This is for your own practice because we are going to set off the environment by yourself by doing your practice. This is some extra I'm showing you. Okay, this is
Yeah,
something.
Ranjit, yeah, I understand, Ranjit. Like, just like, by seeing the environment variables, everything in an organization,
Mhm.
every organization maintain the same procedure, or it is completely user friendly, like, while the developer, wherever the environment files he wants to store, he will store and he will execute the program, or else any standard format is there. This libraries means this library should stored in this folder, and whenever the script is looking for some particular call that file, he has to mention that path, right? Then only the program will execute. So that is why I'm asking. Yeah, is there any format, any standard format where he need to put all those JDK, JVM files in the particular path or not?
Yeah. So every organization, every company has their own standard, okay, and their own ways of coding and own standard of codings, right? Every company has their own way of doing the setups. So these setups, whatever is done, your administrator will do all these kind of setups. You don't have to do all these. So for the administration part, they would have a procedure, they would have a protocol to follow. That should be a standard. Every company follow a standard. There should be a standard to how you set up the global environment variable. It's up to the company standard, and it's up to the person who is working, who's the administrator. If he is feel like this is the way, standardized way, he can recommend that one, that we will go with this way. Then everyone follow in that way. So the entire setups will be done by the administrator. So up to them how they will do. Either they can set up in a different script and they'll execute from a cron job or execute from a startup job. Anything they can do whatever they want, right? It's entirely different.
So yeah, so the thing it is if we need the programmer should have the administrator access, in order to execute all those things in a structured way, or else he completely dependent on administrators. Once everything is he just developers just informed the administrators we need this setup, so kindly please take it. Once the administration team complete the setup, and they will give the environment variables and all those things to developer, or they simply give the administrator access to developer.
No, no,
They
no.
will give the certain procedure.
See,
Or,
there are different kind of administration assets. One is system level administration, one is application administrator, right? There are two different types. System administrator is which is totally entirely different. Who will take installation part of your application. Okay, they'll just install all the applications and give you the administrative access for that particular access for particular application. Then, if you are a developer and you know what type of variables you need to set up, right, you know what type of variable setups is required for you, then you can just set up. Suppose you are a developers should know how to set up all these environment variables. Okay, there are a few system level environment variables which is administrative access is required, and that will have the system administration part. But the application variable, whatever you are going to set up, that will be with the developer, because developer only knows what global environment variables is required. Application level, I'm not like talking about system level, application level. You got it?
yeah, yes, Randy. So these are all these setups, whatever we are doing, this is application level only, right?
This is
So the developer can do all those things.
Yes, yes. The
Okay, thanks.
development guys is no, they know what kind of variables is required. Okay, suppose you are a DevOps engineer, and your DevOps engineer also in DevOps administrative part is there. So the administrative part, whoever setting up all these tools, they will set up all these variables for you. So as a DevOps has a also automation engineer or development engineer, right? Who will do all the development kind of. See, it has a development kind of thing. It has a support monitoring. It has operations, right? Developers and operations also there, right? Lots of combinations work are there. So once we move forward with other tools, no, that time you'll clearly know what are the roles a DevOps engineer they do. Okay.
Okay, okay, Ranjit. Okay, Ranjit. Thanks, Ranjit.
No problem. So what we can do here?
Yeah, I have one doubt,
Yeah,
Ranjit.
yeah, please, please.
So now currently you are set up one a staging environment or staging machine, right?
Yeah, I'm going to set up here.
Yeah. So similarly, it will be integration with the Jenkins server.
Sorry, sorry, I did not get
It
it.
will be integrated with Jenkins, right?
Yes, it will be integrated with Jenkins. Yes.
Okay, so now we are doing for one staging environment. Let's say in the company they have around 4 5 like no staging environment.
Yes.
So similar way we have to create like different like virtual machine and set up all the like application how we are doing.
Yeah. So there we are going to use another tool. See, if you are going to set up only one machine or two machines, then manually doing it is okay. We can use one or two
Huh.
setups, machine setup we can do. But if there are more than hundreds or more than 10 also, more than 10, more than 20
Yeah.
machines, and there is a different tool which we can use to automate whatever configurations is required. There is a configuration management tool which is Ansible. We'll use Ansible to do all this setup for us. Okay, we don't have to go and
Okay.
log into 100 servers and do the same thing again and again because it is a time taking. So
Okay.
that is the beauty of DevOps, right? We don't have to worry about all these things. Everything will be fully
Okay.
automated. So we'll integrate that
Okay. Thank
Ansible
you.
to the Jenkins also. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, guys, just don't go for other things which is not related to that. Once we move forward, no, slowly, you'll just come. I know that everyone has some like, knowledge on that, but once we finish this one, the other tools will cover it. Okay. Slowly, you will come to know the end-to-end of CI/CD part. Okay. Continuous integration, deployment, delivery, and deployment. Okay. So here, what I did, I just downloaded the Tomcat server. Okay, so let's what I'm going to do here. Next thing is after downloading, as it is a tar file, compressed zip file, I have to untar it. So to untar, the command is tar hyphen xvf. Okay, tar hyphen xvf sudo tar hyphen xvf and Apache Tomcat and the file which we downloaded. Okay, so hit enter. So it is now untarred everything, extracted everything. If I go here, I can see one folder is created called as Apache Tomcat, and this is the file which was downloaded. Now I don't need this file because I already have untarred this to a folder, this files, right? So let me remove this file. So rm command is to remove this file. I removed it, and I want to rename this folder to a only Tomcat. I don't need the big name of this folder, so let me just rename this folder to only Tomcat. mb folder name and Tomcat. Simple. So now we'll have only Tomcat folder, right? So if I go to this Tomcat folder, we'll find lots of other files and folders. You'll see guys, Tomcat also is a different, one itself to understand the Tomcat web server and work on that. That has actually 1 week of classes there. But I'm not going to cover the entire what is Tomcat and how to work on Tomcat. But the basic configurations of Tomcat and the basic usage of Tomcat server, I'll just show you. Okay, just be tune with me. So let's see here. If we go to this Tomcat server, we have this web apps config logs bin directory. Okay, so what is all this? I'll just go through that. This web apps folder, right? When we install any application on the web server, that application will be placed in this web apps folder. Okay, so if I go to this web app folder, we'll see all these docs, host manager, manager are that. So our applications will be placed under this web apps folder. So once we place our application, so our application will be in binary format, var, jar, and all this fine, right? As Tomcat is a web server, so obviously it will work for WAR files, web-based applications, not the desktop-based applications. It will just work for web-based applications, and we'll just put our WAR file into this folder. And this config folder contains all the configuration details. So if I go to this config folder, it contains all the configuration details. So this Tomcat users, so it will have all the user credential details, user ID, user password, everything will be in this folder. So you will get questions sometimes, what server, web server you are using to deploy your application. They may ask you some basic configurations. As a DevOps engineer, you should know some basic configurations, which I'm going to show you today. Okay, this Tomcat server will be having all the user credentials details. Okay, so let me just open this. And here, if I go down, you'll find some roles and Tomcat passwords, everything are there. Okay, so here, and it is also commented. It is also commented. This is the comment of the configuration XML file, right? So we have to uncomment this. So there is a user ID and passwords I have set up here. So I have created two roles. So just use this role, or you can create your own role. Okay, first let me uncomment this part. I'm just removing this comment. Okay, and let me delete this role. I'll add my own role. Okay, so what I did here, I just created one role name is manager script, and then manager GUI. So, and the user section, username is Tomcat, password I have given as secret. Okay, so you can give the same, or you can change by your own. And here there is a typo, guys, in the thing. So here you have to add T here. Okay, script, because whatever the role you have given, these roles I am assigning here, the roles section. Okay, so manager sections. So there will be a questions like how you will set up this username and passwords. So you can go to the user tomcat-user.xml file, and there you can set up all this. Okay, tomcat-users.xml file. Okay, so the main part is there. One is the server.xml. So guys, as we know that Jenkins server is running on 8080. Also the Tomcat's default port is 8080. So tomorrow, if you want to install, if you want to get one more Tomcat server, you want to run one more Tomcat server in the same uh, server. Okay, so same port, it will not work, so we have to get another port. If already Jenkins installed in one server and you're going to install Tomcat there, so what will happen, it will not work because Tomcat and Jenkins running on the same server, same port 8080. So if you want to change the port by your own way, where you have to change, you have to change in this server.xml file. Okay, so just open this server.xml file. So just go to the port, I think somewhere. Okay, so here you can see the connector port. See, you can see the connector port is 8080, and all this information, so don't worry guys, everything I have written it here. See, so you have to use change this create role and user, change the port 8080 if it is required, any port you want. Okay, if you want to change it, so you can just go ahead and change this port 8181 or 8282 or anything you want. Okay, now as this Tomcat server is installed in a different server, my 8080 port will work fine, so I'm not going to change anything in this file. Okay, the next is, let's come back to this. Next is bin folder. This bin folder contains all the binary and executable details. See, not all the script, the startup and restart, stop, shutdown, all the scripts available in this bin directory. Okay, now if I see here my Tomcat, I just installed the Tomcat, but I have not started it. Okay, so what I have to do, if I do ps-f grep-i Tomcat, nothing will be running, nothing will be running. So what I have to do, you can see, if you are running on the Unix or Linux, you have to just run this startup.sh, and if you are running on Windows, you can see here one startup.batch file is there, batch file, right? So batch script you can run to start the Tomcat server in Windows. Okay, and for Unix I can just start this one. Okay, so Good. So if you see here, my using Catalina and all these details are there. Okay, and JRE home, this is the Java home which I had set up. So Asif ji, for you actually, you have to just use whatever I did the Java home variable setup, right? Once you do that,
Yes, yes, Ranjit bhai. Yeah,
yeah, you'll get this path. Okay. Now we can see our
sure.
Tomcat server is started. Okay. Let's go and check whether the Tomcat is running or not. So we can just go here, paste it, 8080. Good. So our Tomcat server is now up and running. See, our Tomcat server is now ready to host the application. So if you put any application in this server, the application will now run. Okay, our part is done. We have done our Tomcat setup. Now let's come back to the Jenkins server. We want to deliver our product or our end applications to this server to do the further testing, to this staging server. Okay, for that what you have to do in post build action, right? In post build action we have to just set up, 1 second, yeah, you can find it, one deploy var or er to a container. Deploy var or er to a container. Let's select it. Okay, so what you are going to deploy, I'm going to deploy the var file, right? So I can just give slash star dot var. So it will get this file from the target folder. Okay, now the context path is not required. Now if we are going to give this container, which container we want to put it, so you'll find all these server container details. Glassfish also is a web server. JBoss application, whoever worked in this Java, I can understand this JBoss application. And we have also this Tomcat server, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So ours is Tomcat 7, I believe. Yeah, Tomcat 7. So what I can do, I can select this Tomcat 7. Okay, now once you set up this Tomcat 7, it will ask for the credentials. Remember, without credentials, it will not able to connect to the Tomcat server. So what I have to do, select this credentials. I have already Tomcat credentials set up here. Okay, so if you want to add it, just go here, add in Jenkins, add username is Tomcat, and what is the password? Go password I had set, so in new password was given as secret, right? So if I go to this, sorry, if I go to this config folder where you'll get this password, you can just tomcat user.xml, this is the password we had set up, right? Get this password, go here, paste it here and add it. Okay, so once you add it, it will be done. Now I have already added, so let's select this Tomcat, just add a Tomcat, and you have to give this Tomcat URL. So what is this Tomcat URL? This will be your Tomcat URL, your IP address or domain name colon 8080. This will be your Tomcat URL. Okay, just provide this Tomcat URL. Remember, you have to provide 8080, otherwise it will not work. Okay, now it's connected. Okay, what is happening now? All this is now done. So let's save it. Okay, what will happen, guys, if I run the job? What it will do, it will deliver the end product to the Tomcat server, to the staging server. Okay, so if I just build now, let's see what will happen. It is running fine, build is success. Okay, now it is deploying the war file. Okay, what happens here? See the logs. This is the target DevOps var is not deployed. Doing a fresh deployment and deploying this. Okay. Now what happens? It is just says not deployed. Okay. So now let's go ahead and check whether it is deployed or not. So where it will be deployed, guys? Where it will be deployed? I just told you few minutes before where it will be deployed. This is my Tomcat server. Okay, this is my
Tomcat. Yeah.
Tomcat server. In this, where in this folder, where it will be deployed?
Web apps.
Yes, so it will be in web apps. Okay, cd web apps. Okay, now see DevOps web apps.var. So what happened here? Our Jenkins job able to deliver the war file into the Tomcat server. Okay, is it's able to deliver the war file into the Tomcat server, and as soon as it put this war file into this web apps, Tomcat will automatically, this is a binary archived file, compressed file. Okay, what it will do? It will just uncompress it, unarchived it, and create a folder called DevOps Web App, and all the application related files will be inside it. Okay, now let's connect to the application. So application is now deployed successfully. Now let's how to access the application. Go to your Tomcat server and slash give your application, sorry, give your application name. So application name is DevOps Wave, right? Just give your application name. See what is this? DevOps class Ranjit version 1.5, 30th October webhook demo, which we had updated the last class. So now what I'm going to do, I'll not touch Jenkins. I'll now, my everything is fully automated. Now I'm not going to touch anything. Okay, now I'm not going to touch anything. Now I'll become a developer. Now I'm going to change some code, but I'll not touch anything. The tester will do the testing in this server. Okay, let's see what is happening. So okay, the last class we had connected to the we had created repository in Jenkins server, right? So let me go there. uh, Let me connect to the Jenkins server. So now I'm going to work as a developer. Okay. So developer does not require to go to the Jenkins server, as my development platform I had created on that server. That's why I'm connecting it. Okay. Don't get confused. So let me just connect to a different tab. Okay. Okay. So here I had created one for, okay. This is the Java project where I had created a project called Java project, right? And this is the repository project name. Let me change something into the source file. What is that? In the web app, I have this template dot. I'm just going to modify something in this template.xml file. So, okay, before doing that, that is, if you remember correctly, I'm going to use webhook, because this project actually webhook hook where GitHub hook is set up and that will be triggered automatically. But here is a problem, guys. If I push it, the thing is, by our setup, it should be automatically triggered. The event should be automatically triggered. But now this will not trigger. Now this will trigger, but it will not be delivered to the Jenkins. Why? If you understand yesterday's class, and if you relate to this today's class, let me uh, show you difference, but I'll show it before, once you answer it. What will be the problem? It will be the event will be triggered, but it will not be delivered to the Jenkins. Let me log into the GitHub. I think everyone knows, but not able to relate that one. So what will be the problem? Yesterday we set up the hook, GitHub webhook, right? Yesterday we set up the GitHub webhook. If you remember and recollect that webhook setup, you can tell what will be the problem.
Yeah, Ranjit. So maybe the in webhook setup. So we are doing like it will only build, but there is no setup for the deployment actually. Since you did not mention anything like which server it has to deploy. So
No,
maybe that is the reason.
no. That is also not correct, because webhook is not doing any deployment or anything. Webhook is only triggering the event. It is the
Trigger the
trigger
event.
event, and that event is triggering, and that trigger will go to the Jenkins based on the Jenkins URL setup. Based on the Jenkins URL setup, right? One second. When based on the Jenkins URL setup. But if you see here, my Jenkins URL has a different IP address now. This is having 13.127, last 2 to 8. If I check it here, it has 23139 something. It's a different URL. The payload URL is the Jenkins URL. As I restarted the Jenkins today morning, I got a different IP address, EC2 IP address, right? EC2 instance. So that's why you need to change this one. Okay. Normally, in your organizations will be using the host name. They will be
Static.
using the domain name or static IP address, and you don't have to bother about all. Okay, let me change this one.
Okay.
Okay, so 228, get the playbook. And why I'm showing you, suppose tomorrow you are doing your practices at your home, and you stopped your Jenkins server, and again if you started tomorrow, it will get a different IP, and if your webhook will not work. So here you have to come here and change the payload URL, then your webhook will trigger automatically. Okay, now this webhook thing is done. Now let me change the code here. Suppose I'm going to give a version of 1.6, and today is 31st, right? Today is 31st October. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to save it here. Save it. Let me just add git add dot added. So just give a message. You can just give a message of delivery delivered to staging. Delivered to staging. Okay, done. Hit enter. Committed. Let me push it. Git origin. Sorry. Git push origin master. Okay. Now give the token. So I have my token here. Okay. Now data is pushed. Okay. So if I go my Jenkins now, you'll see one automatic trigger will happen. See, automatically trigger happens. So developer now pushed the code after changing. So Jenkins has started building now. It started building the, see, after building, what happened?
Good.
It did the unit testing, it did everything. After that, it delivered for testing. It delivered for testing. Okay. So if the tester will just refresh this page, see, it changed 1.6, 31st October. Okay. Now you are clear, right, after doing build and how it is delivered. So what we did the Tomcat web server installation and did the configuration setup in the Jenkins. Okay, so what we did here, we just configured, the in the post build action, in the after build is over, what next post build action is required. I have given two actions here. One is archive the artifacts. Now next is deploy the artifacts to the Tomcat environment or Tomcat server. Okay, this is now, this is what we achieved the delivery. Now what I'm going to show you today. Today we'll just discuss about the, okay. So what will be now? Okay, will first let me show you first the upstream and downstream concept. This is very important, the upstream and downstream concept. And then today we'll start with the master and slave architecture. Master and slave architecture also that much is most important. Okay, so let's start. Now what we did in this job, we did a setup of build, unit testing, and what we did the delivery, archived the artifact, and then delivery the artifacts to the staging server. So in another scenario, what will happen? You may need to deliver this to a different server. Now what happened? In this server, what we did, we just did only delivery, archived and delivered. Now let me delete this delivery part. I don't want to add in this job. I'll just keep this job only for building, only for building our Java project, building and testing, unit testing. Okay, let me keep the delivery part in a different job, and I'll connect that job into this main job, the upstream job. Then what will happen, once the upstream job is success, it will trigger the downstream job that we need to set up. This is how the automations you have to think, how we can do these automations, and how, what is your requirement, and how you can set up this one. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create another job. So guys, here is a question for you. So you understood the total requirement. Now the requirement is build and build test is build test and deliver, build unit test and deliver. Now build and unit test I kept in one job. I want to keep the delivery job, the delivery of the product to a staging server in another job. What I need to do? Can anybody, any one of you guide me from this dashboard how I'll go and what should I do? Anyone?
You have to configure another job, I think.
Okay, so I should go with new item, right?
Yes.
Yes. Then just give a job name called suppose deploy to staging. I just created a job called deploy to staging. I can give a name as, okay, that's fine, deploy to staging, and let me select it as freestyle project. Remember, this is deploy to staging freestyle project. Okay, next, what, this is only for delivery. Then what setup I have to do it here? General, let's just give a description. deploy to staging. It's up to you what saying. So next is source code management. So what I have to do here, do I need to do any select anything here?
Not needed.
Which one should I use? Not needed. Okay, that's correct. This is not required because we are not going to build anything. We are not going to get anything from the source code management and build. So we don't need this part now. We have to focus on the, again, we don't need any build trigger. Okay, what do you say? We need build trigger
Yeah,
or not?
Not required.
because you are not building anything. So yeah, not needed.
It is required. We need a trigger, right? Somebody has to trigger this job. Build is not required, but build trigger is required. We don't need this build.
Oh, okay, okay.
We don't need this build, but build trigger is required. Somebody has to trigger this job. Then how it will be run? That's why we are doing fully automated. We are not coming here and manually clicking the build, right? We are automating it. Somebody has to trigger this job. So what I have to choose? I have to choose build after other projects are built. Okay, so what
Build.
I'm going
Okay,
to
okay.
do, select this, and what it says, projects to watch. So if I just click it here, what was our project name? So it was, let me just go to, it was first Java project something, right? So I can just give first. See, if I give first Java project, it comes here. We can batch. Select this one. Okay, there is a space. Okay, now select. Okay, now it is done. What happens here? I can select trigger only if build is stable. If this particular job is success and stable, then trigger this job. Okay, sometimes what happen, you need, if this job will failed, then you start this job. But I need, if this job is success, I need this job to be triggered. Okay, now the trigger part is done. Do we need build environment? No, we are not going to build anything. So build part is also not required. So what we need now? We need the post build action, which is deploy var to a container. So what we have to do? We have to just, so in these sections, we cannot use this deploy.var file here. We cannot use the deploy. So we cannot use? Because if I give star star, just try to understand the concept, guys. Try to understand how the flow works. If you understand the flow works, then here I'll ask two questions. If you understand the flow works, then you will easily do the setups anytime, anywhere, for any jobs, any requirement. Okay, try to understand the flow. So now I'm just giving, suppose var. What will happen here, guys? See, this job is totally different. The job name is deploy to staging. As I told you, when you create a job, execute it, it will create a workspace for the job, that respective, for the respective job. So our first job, which one is the first Java project we can batch? That is the job. When we execute that one, the build is happening on this job. That means the var file, the artifacts will be stored in this workspace, this job's workspace. If I trigger this deploy to staging job and give this post build action, what will happen? This one will search for this var file in this deploy to staging workspace, and it will not find anything. It will fail. Let me do that for you and show you how it is failing. Okay, and what will happen if I execute it. So give this Tomcat server details here. Just try to understand the flow. If you guys understood, right, what I mean to say you, the workspace of this deploy to staging is different. If I give this word star dot, what it will do, it will go to the target folder of this project, and there will be nothing. because nothing has been built for this project. The workspace is different where this war file is there. Okay, now let me save it. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to build the parent project. Okay, I'm going to build the parent project. Let's see what is happening. So we have two jobs now. Okay, I'm going to build this job. It will be automatically triggered. See, I just click the build schedule here and you'll see one blinking icon will be here. Okay, so it worked or not? Okay, see, after that the queue is in deploy to staging. So deploy to staging has already been success. Now if I go here, check this trigger, I just triggered this 10 build now, and the downstream project is deployed to staging. The downstream project is deployed to staging and it is failed. That is what I was telling, it will fail. See, this is red color and it is failed. If I go to deploy to staging, the first build itself failed. I did not build this one. Did I build this? No, I just built the upstream project. But once the upstream project is success, it automatically triggered the downstream job deployed to staging. But it is failed. Why? Let me check. As I told, um, deploy work container aborted due to exceptions. So what is the exceptions? See, building on master in the workspace, there is no workspace available now. So where it will find the file? There is no file available. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change something here in this deploy to staging. Let's configure it. This is just an example of upstream and downstream job. You can do whatever your requirement. Okay, so I'm going to do what's my requirement now. Now what I'm going to do here, I don't have to do this post build action. Suppose here, suppose what is a warrant, if you see here, warrant files to deploy relative to the workspace root, you can also specify the globe like this. Okay, if you know the relative path of the workspace, what is the relative path of this workspace? If I go to here, I showed you last class, right? The Jenkins, right? Jenkins folder. So let's go to the Jenkins home directory. So it will be cd user. No, so how I'll get it? If I go to the dashboard here, go to this one, go to the console output, and you'll find the workspace, right? Var leave Jenkins workspace, and this is the workspace of this project. Workspace of this project, and this workspace contains everything. Okay, now go here. Okay, so I just want to go to this workspace. Let's see. In this workspace, we have this target folder. We'll have, if I go to this target cd target, we have this DevOps.war file, right? Either I can give the absolute path like this entire, if you know this entire path, I can just give this path over there. Let me show you how you can do that. So go to the deploy to staging. Okay, configure it. I'll show you in two ways how you can do that. Okay, put it here. You can give star.var. That's fine. Star.var. Okay, so, or what you can do here, the or you can just give star.var, and instead of here you can use the context path. The context for the container should use to publish the var. Note this may get overridden if the var to deploy hash container specific config is embedded. If you have already embedded something in the configurations, it will be overwritten. So the context path you can just use here. Instead of there, you can just use the context path here. Target, the target folder. Okay, now let me save it. If there is any error, then we'll try to fix it. Instead of building the main project, let me build this one directly. Click this. Let's see if it is getting set. So it is failed again. Let's see what is failing. Building and master on workspace. This no was found. Okay, maybe we need to change it something again. Configure it here again. So the context path need to be changed. So let me check it here, like what we had given. Check this one. If it is working, it's fine, or else we'll change something. Well, now works. It's again failed. So in this way, it is not working. What happens here? The syntax accepting glove. This is not the exact syntax to provide. So we cannot provide the context path on the var file. So whatever we have given it here, we cannot set it up like this. Okay, the context path should go below. So there should some changes is required. Okay, so this is what the post build actions we are going to do it. I'll show you how, as we don't have the workspace available now for deploy to staging. If I go to this folder, right, workspace will not have this deploy to staging workspace. See, if I go here, sorry, we don't have the target folder. So we have nothing is there. It's totally blank. It's totally blank. Nothing is there. Okay. So that means we are not using any build sections. Okay. So now what I'm going to do here, in the build section, I'm going to add execute cell. Execute cell. Click on, and here I'm going to use CP, going to copy the file, right? SCP, then give the file name. So what is the file name? The file will be in the this target folder, right? We'll use the entire path star.var and then just give us root @ you remember this is automations, and I told you it's all about your how you want to achieve the stuff, right? It's the fully automations. It's up to you how you can do that. So now what I did, this is the server. I'm going to copy this one to the Tomcat server. So this is the Tomcat server IP address. Now 65.0.100.92 : give the path. What is the path? Path of the web app folder in the Tomcat server. So it was opt Tomcat, right? And what is the folder name? Web apps, I think. Go here and okay. So it is web apps. Tomcat web apps. Okay. Go here. The web apps. opt Tomcat web apps. Done. So what I did, I just used scp command to copy the war file from the workspace and then deliver it. Now save it. So this is real troubleshoot part. I'll show you. It will fail again. Okay. Okay. It is already failed. So why it is failed? Let's check the error. So what it says? Lost connection. Host key verification failed. Host key verification failed. So let's do that. First, before doing that, let's connect to the server manually. Let's see what is happening. From the Jenkins server, I'm going to connect to this is the Jenkins server. This green is the Jenkins server. From this Jenkins server, I'm going to connect to the Tomcat server. Okay, how I'll do it? Suppose SSH, okay, give root at the IP address of the Tomcat server. Okay, this is the IP address. Okay, so we don't have permission from Jenkins server to connect to the Tomcat server. Okay, so what we have to do now, we have to establish the connection from Jenkins to the Tomcat server. So what we'll do, how we have to do that? Simply, we have to share the public key of Jenkins server into the Tomcat server. So quickly, I'll do that. So login as root sudo su. Okay. So if I go to the root folder, root, you'll find one .ssh. Here you'll find some public key id underscore rs public key will be there. If it is not there, so you can use the puttygen, right? Sorry, not puttygen, ssh keygen, ssh hyphen keygen, sorry, ssh hyphen keygen to generate the key, so you'll get a key called id underscore rsa dot pop if you don't specify a name to that. So there is a video in my YouTube how to generate this key and set up the connectivity in between one server to another server. You can follow that, or else I have set up a few stops there how to generate the key. Okay, so you can just use ssh hyphen keygen, just hit enter, enter, and then it will create the id underscore rsa dot pov. Okay, let me
Ranjit, Ranjit, one second, Ranjit. Actually, thing it is both the instances using the same security, same key pair only, right? Still, in order to communicate between both the instance, do we need to do this thing?
see. If we need to connect from one server to another server through private key, sorry, private IP address, then we can connect it. If you want to connect the same key, then we should have the same key available in this server to connect to that key, right? We are not using the certificate key here. We are just using the public key of other server to connect. Certificate you can easily connect using the .pem file. If you have the .pem file, then you can easily connect to this server. We don't need any. But you have to set up, see, for our demo and development training purposes, we are using the same key for the both the server. But in organization, we don't use the same key. Every server will have different keys, right?
Okay, okay, Ranjit.
Every server will have different keys. So here we have, yes, we have the same key, and using the key we can connect to the other server. But that is not what we are going to do. That is something different. Okay. Here I'm just going to show you how to connect from this server to another server using the public key. Okay. Now I have generated this public key. Let's go and create setup here. So get this public key, go to the root directory of this Tomcat server .ssh. Okay, and here you'll find nothing is there. So one authorized keys file will be there. Okay, just open this file, authorized key, go to the down, okay, and get the public key of the Jenkins server and get the public key and paste the Jenkins server here. Okay, save it, done. I saved the public key. Now let me connect to the server again. Let me connect to the server again. Let's see what is happening. See, now I am successfully connected to the server. Okay, I am successfully connected to the Amazon Linux 2 AMI, that is the Tomcat server. From Jenkins, I am successfully able to connect from Jenkins to Tomcat now. Okay, so what I did, I just set the public key of Jenkins server into the Tomcat server. Then I can successfully, without using the password, I connected to the Tomcat server. Let me come out from this. Okay, now let me trigger the build. Let's see what is happening. Let me trigger the build. See, now 5 is success. If I go and check the output, deploy to staging, it is deployed to this web apps, this project deployed to this folder. Okay, now to do entire end-to-end testing, let me change as a developer. So let me log into my development environment. Okay, go to the Java project. I think, what is the project name? Oh, sorry. Okay, CD Java project, CD DevOps. Right. And here I'm going to change the template file. Okay, I'm going to change the template file again. So instead of this, I'm going to change something here. Upstream, downstream, 116, let it be there. Okay, set it, quickly git add dot, add it, git, yes. Okay, and give the token. It's now pushed. If I go to this job, you will see another trigger will happen. See, 11 is automatically started here. Okay, once this one is done, it will trigger the downstream job. Downstream job is deployed to staging. Okay, so it will trigger automatically the down staging job, and it will be done. So if I, so it was 1.6 webhook, right? Webhook demo. If I refresh this page now, see, it is changed. That means application is redeployed automatically. So now we saw full end-to-end CI and CD part, continuous integration and continuous delivery part. So do you have any doubts so far? We can discuss, or else we can move into the master and slave architecture. Okay, I will finish this master and slave architecture today. Do you have any doubt or anything to discuss?
Ranjit, this week you will do that one. Next week, if any doubt, we will discuss.
Okay, good. So now you fully understood what is the upstream and downstream setup and when it is required. Okay, so that's why you have to put your logic, your mindset, how you have to achieve the automations. Okay, let me quickly go to master and slave architecture. Okay, so let me tell you something about this master and slave architecture, and then we'll slowly move into the stuff. There is nothing is there.
Ranjit, small,
Yeah,
small query, Ranjit.
please.
Yeah, here you are using your DevOps web project, right?
Yeah.
In GitHub. Yeah, can you provide that link? You have updated as private, right? Can
Yeah,
you make it as public and provide the link so
yeah,
that we'll try to.
that's true. Yeah, let me change it to public. Okay, go to settings and change to public. Manage access. Manage. Okay, so this is now become public, so you can use this project DevOps web and just to build. Okay, so there are in this project there are lots of other Docker file, Jenkins file, and don't just go with this one. And we'll discuss these Jenkins files in the next class next Saturday. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, fine. So now what we are going to learn today, we are going to see about the master and slave architecture. First thing you need to understand what is this master and slave setup. Okay, so what is this master and slave setup? If you see the Jenkins server, where the Jenkins server is installed, Jenkins application is installed, that's called your Jenkins server, and that is your master. That will be your master. Okay, so what master does? Master schedule the build jobs. It dispatch the builds to the slaves for the actual job execution. That means what of the slaves means node, what of the node is created, master job will dispatch and distribute the jobs and the builds to the respective slave. The master has all the informations like which slave can work which job, because all the slaves cannot do the all the jobs, right? Based on the configurations, the master will distribute the load, distribute the work to the respective slave here nothing but the node, a server. Okay, node is server. Okay, what else it does? It monitors the slaves and record the build results. Who does it? Master does. What else it does? It does actually can also execute build jobs directly. Master has capable of building job by itself. It's a server, it has the executor also, right? It can execute the job by itself. Okay, and the slave is nothing but the node machines. It execute build jobs dispatched by the master. Okay, now let's see what is this slave and node. So slaves are the computers that are set up to build the projects for a master. It is a virtual machine, it is a VM, it is a cloud machine, it is a remote server, it is a machine which has the capable of executing the build which is dispatched by the master. Okay, slaves are the computers that are set up to build the projects for a master, and Jenkins runs a separate program called slave agent. Just try to understand we how the master and a node we do the setup. That is this master and node setup actually has little bit configuration is required, some set of installations is required. I'll show you how we can because the master and slave communication should be there to execute the program to dispatch the bill to the particular slave. If there is no connectivity, then how it will be done? Now, what happens here? The slaves are computers that are set up to build the projects for a master. So, when slaves are registered to a master starts distributing loads to slaves. A node is used to refer to all machines that are part of Jenkins grid, slaves and master. Okay, now you understood what node and what it does, what is slave or node. You don't get confused, you will get questions as what is slave in Jenkins. Slave is nothing but a node, or it is a server, it is a machine where the bills will get executed, slave or node. Okay, now you're clear on the master and slave. Now let's go ahead and do a master and node setup. Okay, so one second guys, I'm getting a call. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see how we can do the setups. Okay, so in the dashboard, if you go again to the manage Jenkins, and if you go to manage nodes and clouds, you have to go manage nodes and clouds. What you can do, you can add, remove, control and monitor the various nodes or slaves that Jenkins runs the job on. Okay, so let's click on this, and here you can see in this node dashboard we'll have the master, and we have two slaves or two nodes here, and which are offline. One is Windows and another one I have created as node 1 Linux. So let me create another node. Okay, let me create another node. So how I'll do, you can see here new node, right? Click on this new node. Node name, suppose I can give as Java agent tests, Java agent test. Okay, or I can just give Java agent 1, Java agent 1. Let's make it permanent agent. Click OK. Now here you have to give the specifications description to, I can just give to execute Java projects. Execute Java projects. Number of executors. How many jobs can execute on this node? You can give 1 or 2. Suppose let me give 2. And remote root directory. So this remote to root directory, you have to provide where the agent will be installed in this machine. So here remote root directory, suppose I'll give it, you can see here what should be. You can just give Jenkins or C Jenkins or whatever the Jenkins stack, you can provide it here. Okay, so now which machine, suppose I'm going to, we have suppose in this Tomcat, right? The Tomcat server. So this is the Tomcat server. I'm just going to this make as an agent. Okay. So one second. So we have one second. There is one master setup document which I'll share with you. So we need to install few agents first. We need to install few agents. So the install Jenkins, what you have to do first, run on this master node. So what you have to do, you have to just follow these commands to set up on the master first before doing this setup, right? Before doing this, because we need this remote directory and we have to do all this setup. First, what we have to do, we have to install and do some configurations on the server itself. So let's go ahead and do this on the master node. So master node is nothing but your Jenkins server. Okay, master node is nothing but your Jenkins server. So let me execute this sudo -iu Jenkins. What happened here? It did not change the Jenkins user. It did not change the Jenkins user. That means let's see whether we have the Jenkins user or not. So where can I check the users? I can just go to or just grave Jenkins -i Jenkins etc SSWD password. Jenkins user is there. Okay, so I don't know this password of this one, so let me change the password. Okay, so why then sudo is not working? Okay, fine. It's not required then. Okay, leave. So what I have to do then? We have to create a folder, create.ssh folder, set up the key on the slave. So whatever I did, right, Tomcat server and Jenkins server setup, same things we have to do for that. Okay, so in the create.ssh folder to set up the key on slave. So ssh root slave IP, okay, mkdir make directory -p dot ssh. So if you execute this one, what will happen? It will create one folder on the slave machine, okay, but we don't have to do that one, as I'm going to make the slave machine this one, the Jenkins, the root one, like the Tomcat server. So if I go here in the root folder, it will be there. So let me just change the password of Jenkins first. So what is the command? Sudo pswd. Changing the password of Jenkins. Okay. Now let me change Jenkins, whether it is working or not. No. SU Jenkins. Okay, why it is not working? So this is a troubleshoot part. Okay, let's see why it is not. I'm not able to connect to the Jenkins server, right? So let me change something. Here it is, you can see bin false, right? Let me change to this. See, sudo bi, go to the Jenkins one. So this is the Jenkins, and we can give us bash, or this is given false, right? We can give as bash. Okay, so let me change this SU Jenkins. Okay, now what happened? I just connected to the Jenkins server. Okay, if I see ID, I connected to the Jenkins server. Okay, so let me exit it back, and if I use sudo hyphen IU Jenkins, okay, again I am able to do that under sudo. If I do ID, yes, I am into Jenkins now. What I'm going to do now, here, based on the follow, I'm just following these documentations. What I'm going to do, remember guys, create .ssh folder to make setup on the slaves. So in this root, we already have .ssh. If I go to this folder, because I'm going to make this server as my agent. If I go to slash root, permission denied, okay, sudo su, okay, so go to cd. If we go to here, you can see in the root folder we have already .ssh folder there. So that is the next step is doing. So if you have not created, what you can do from the master, once you do this ssh root at the red slave IP, and the slave IP in the sense the agent IP which I'm going to make it, then you are going to create a directory. Don't get complicated it. If you don't understand, leave it. Just create a simple folder under root directory.ssh. After that, what it does, paste the public master into the authorized key file, which I already have shown you just before. We already have connectivity setup from the agents and math. This is what the connectivity setup we are going to do. That is already I have done it. Okay, the next step is setting up the slave and running on slave node machine. Setting up the slave, the first thing is should be executed on the slave machine. I have written should be executed on the slave machine. We need to install the Java on the slave machine. Remember, Jenkins is a Java application, and the agent, the slave agent, which we are going to set up on the node machine, that is also a Java program. That is also a Java program. To run a Java program, as I told, we need Java to be installed there. The first thing. Okay. So Java is already installed in this server. Okay. I am going to make this as my agent, right? So already Java is installed, right? If I do Java version, already Java is. If not, you can install the Java. So you can just copy paste default JRE 11 version of Java. You can install, not a problem. Okay. Then we are going to create Jenkins user. Going to create Jenkins user. So I'll just create user add Jenkins. Jenkins user created. I'm going to change the password for this Jenkins. Okay, password is set up. Next is created directory called home Jenkins. So let's go to the home directory and let's see, is there any Jenkins directory is created? Yes, we have already Jenkins directory. As part of this user add, it created the Jenkins folder. Okay, now this part we can ignore, already Jenkins folder there. So we can go to this home directory of Jenkins, cd Jenkins. Okay, now we are into this. This is the slave machine. Okay, remember, on the slave machine you have to do what have to we have to download the slave program from Jenkins server. This is very important. And what we are, just remember, just copy this and modify. So this is the slave machine, right? So where you are going to download this, you are going to download this slave.jar. This is one of the agent program. Slave.jar. This is a software that we are going to download from where? Going to download from the master IP, from the master server, which is nothing but the Jenkins server, right? So we have to provide the master domain name or IP address here. So let me give it. So if I go to the Jenkins server, okay, this is my the Jenkins server IP, right? So I can get this IP. I can paste it here entirely, HTTP. Okay, from this path, I'm going to download this slave.jar into the home Jenkins. Okay, hit enter. Connecting to this server is failed.
That slash is only the issue. After the IP address, you just remove.
That's correct. Thank you, Mati. Here is the problem. So after slash is failed. Okay, so I'm going to download this now from the server. Okay, now the slave agent is downloaded, slave.jar. If you see here, slave.jar is downloaded. Good. Now we got the slave.agent. Let's go and set up in the Jenkins. Okay, let's see what we have to do now. Put the below command in the slave setup in the Jenkins server. Okay, fine. So first what we have to do, we have to set up the remote root directory. That will be your home Jenkins. That will be home Jenkins. The labels things I'll show you in the after some time. The labels maybe in the next class. What is the usage of the labels? Once we set up these nodes, we'll create two nodes and we'll set up these labels. Okay, don't worry. So what next is usage is this levels is very important, guys. Please remind me in the next class. I'll show you. Okay, it's already you'll initially you guys had asked me lots of questions on the labels. How to identify, how master will identify and send this server. There will be multiple agents will be there. How the master will identify which agent the build should be executed, right? So here in this label sections, we have to provide a label for that particular agent. That I'll explain. That is a different. That will take minimum half an hour or 1 hour of class, half an hour of class of this labels. I'll set up this label and show you how we can get it. Okay. The usage is use this node as much as possible. Okay. and launch agent by connecting to a to master, or you can see you have if you click it here, you'll find few options here. Launch agent via execution command on the master, launch agent via SSH. Okay, so what we can do, we can use launch agent via SSH, or sorry, not SSH, via execution of command on the master. So we have to give the launch command here via execution of command on the master. So what command we are going to execute on the master? We are going to execute, suppose SSH root, suppose I'm going to execute, and SSH root the give the slave IP, because here in this home Jenkins folder the slave.jar is there, right? So this master we are going to connect to the slave IP. So what is the slave IP? The server where we are going to run it, right? That is the this server I'm going to, no, this is the Jenkins server. So this Tomcat I'm going to make it as the agent, right? Got it. So then availability, keep this agent online as much as possible. That's fine. And node properties and all this will learn when we'll cover these labels. Okay. Now let's save it. See, the agent is now launching. Good. Now it is able to see the Java agent is now successfully connected. Now successfully connected. So if you refresh this page, now we have master and Java agent 1 both are online. So Java agent 1 is online now, but these two are offline. So these are the old one. Let me delete this. This is not required. Delete agent. This was my previous class. Delete this agent. Okay. So we have now one agent, and this agent has two executors. Let's see. I have not set up any labels. I have not set up any labels. Now what will happen if I execute more than, guys, how many jobs can run in current setup? Just see this page. Okay, how many jobs can run in this current setup? How many jobs parallelly can run? The question is
Two jobs.
how many?
Depend on executed jobs they mention in agent.
Yeah, so how many total?
Two jobs.
Maybe we can 3 jobs we can run at a time.
Yes, we can run 3 jobs. 2 jobs will be passed to the agent, and master also can run. Master also has capable of running jobs, right? Because we have not set up any labels now. We have not set up. We have not given any instructions to the master to send particular jobs to the particular machine. So now master, what it will do, whatever jobs will send to the master, master will distribute the jobs to the available agents. Whatever agent it is, master now does not know. Master simple, because master doesn't have any instruction so far. We have not set up the instructions yet. Simply whatever jobs will come, it will distribute the load to the available online agents. And also if it is more than 3 jobs, then it will also can able to build itself. So let's do small example here. Now I have few jobs. Suppose some sleep 1, sleep 2, sleep 3 jobs are there, right? So let me execute these jobs one by one. Suppose let me 4, 3, 2, 1. I clicked 4 times. So you can see here, see agent 1 is having 2 jobs, master is having 1 job. So 3 jobs parallelly can run. One is still waiting in queue, right? One of this complete, then this queue will run. Now our agent is running 1 job. What is this agent? See, Okay, so now sleep 2 will be passed to either agent or master can take it. So let's see. Sleep 2 is not coming yet. I think it slept. Okay, what is this? Executor starvation. Oh, it fell into the executor starvation. Okay, waiting for available executors on an instance, waiting for the available executors on a label. Okay, agents are offline. So remember, executor starvation is actually a concept, is a term when your agent are offline or waiting for available because it is in starvation period now. It is waiting period. After waiting in the queue, it gets starvation. That means either the agent is offline or it does not have sufficient executor to execute it, right? So that's why it may get questions on the starvation. So it will be under starvation now for a few minutes, a few times, some of time, and then it will be automatically sent to the queue to be executed to build it. Okay, now you saw how we can set up the node and agent. If you want to add another agent or multiple agents, you can just go ahead and add it here. Okay, so how will execute the labels also today I'll finish it. Okay, maybe tomorrow I'll show you on the Windows agent. Today I'll finish this labels thing. Okay, what I'm going to do now, let's just create a job, create a simple shell script job or anything. Suppose I created a shell script here in the home Jenkins folder of this slave. Let me create one simple shell script. Okay, so what is the shell script one? Suppose I'm going to do, I just created a master slave test.ssh one script name. um, okay, I simply just created it, and as you know, every script whenever you create, you should have give permissions to execute it. Okay, so I give the executable permissions to that. My script is ready now. So what I'm going to do, so let's go ahead and create a job quickly. Okay, give a name to this from slave, execute from slave. Okay, fine. Quickly do that. I'm not giving any descriptions and anything. Just this is not any GitHub project or anything. Just simply I'm executing the script. So what you have to do, my requirement is to execute the sleeve on, sorry, execute the script or program on the particular machine, right? This is my requirement. So what you have to do, instead of going to anywhere, just simply come here, build part, add execute cell, right? Just give a command called okay, just I'll go here cd oh Jenkins, and here I have the script name, right? What is the script name? Execute the script, right? Just get this script, go here, done, right? And save it. Simple, very simple job, right? So let's see if I build this job, what will happen without setting any label or anything, right? Just build this job, and it is building and it is success also, right? So let's see where it executed. Okay, fine. So what happens without any build, without any label setup? What master did, master simply sent this job to Java agency remotely on Java agent, and it executed the script. Hello Jenkins, today I am running on this IP address, right? Okay, now let's twist something. Before label, let me run this. Okay, what will happen? Suppose before executing this job, let me execute uh, two sleep jobs. Okay, let me execute two sleep jobs, and then I'll quickly execute the what will execute from slave. Okay, suppose okay, sleep 2 is already okay. Let's it is into starvation, so we have to rebuild it. Okay, fine. Now let me run this sleep, say sleep 5 and then sleep 4. Let's see. I okay. Both actually master is clever, right? It's not doing anything. It's just giving everything to the slave. Slave is working for him, so master is free. Now what? Okay, so that now our point is let's start this job executors, right? Build now. So master will take this job now. This job will now will see it is failed because master took that job. Why master took? Because these two this agent are already loaded, the executors are not available, and the master took itself, right? So that's why the job failed. Because why it is failed? Because the script is in the slave agent, it did not find the script. See, home Jenkins, no such file or directory available, is not able to find the script. Okay, not able to find the script. So now let's go and set up something. If I go to dashboard, go to the agent, okay, set up a label. Now sets of a label. Go to manage nodes, go to the agent. You can click on this configure. Okay, go to configure labels. Okay, so just give a label like I can just give uh, some kind of label like called anything. I can just give it a Java agent. Label is Java agent. J Java agent. Now save it. So usage, you should not give us use this node as much as possible. No, you have to select now only build jobs with the label expressions matching this node. So the jobs which has this label, then build that job in this machine. Only build jobs with label expressions matching this node. Now save. Let's go there, and now quickly execute two sleep jobs. Let's see what will happen. One, two. What will happen, guys? Nothing will come to the agent because agent has a now label setup. Master will do all the work. Master now do all the work. Label is the agent is having a label setup. This agent is a VIP now. It will work if that particular label is matching. You understood my point, right? Now let's go ahead and do a setup of the labels in the job. So now what I'll do, suppose I want this execute from slave job. This job name is execute from slave. I want to configure it, and you'll see one section here in the general. Okay, restrict where this project can be done. Okay. Disable this project, disable project permissions, build trigger, build environment. Okay, so if you see here, restrict where this project can run in the general sections. Click on this. So that label expression, do you remember that label? We have to provide it here. Restrict where this project can be run, which machine you want this job to run. So I'll give it as what was it as Java. Okay, so it automatically takes Java agent. So this is the label. Okay, Java. Okay, the matches one node, so it will automatically find that one node is matching this label. Okay, now let me save it. Okay, so if I execute this job, what will happen? It will run on now agent machine. See, it is now run on the agent one and it is success. See, it gives it. Got the point? And similarly, so tomorrow again, when we'll work, we'll see how these setups can be done in the multiple machines. Now you understood how the label works and all, right? Let me know if you have any confusion or any doubt so that we can discuss, or in the next class we'll set up one Windows agent, and we'll trigger a few more jobs to build in separate machines. Okay, and then we'll move forward for
Uh,
more setups.
Ranjit, one thing, label means we created the jobs on that. If you created some jobs, for example, 10 jobs are there, and you are providing the label to agents. Yes.
Okay, that's a good question. Let me do one example quickly here. So here we have two jobs now. Suppose we have execute from slave, and this has a label. That means this job will only run on Java agent 1. It will not run on any machine because we set up a label. We gave a label which is matches to the agent, That means we are instructing the master, send this job to this machine, to this slave, to this node. Master will see if there is a label given to the job. When it finds the label matches to this node, it will send to this node. Now let me execute two jobs simultaneously. Okay, so for that, let me twist something here to make this job to delay for a few seconds so that we can see how it works. Okay, so I'll give like sleep job sleep for 30 seconds. Sleep for 30 seconds. Okay, so okay, now let's execute two jobs. Now I'll execute this first, I'll execute this, and then I'll execute two more jobs. Okay, so let me execute this, and let me execute this. Now two jobs executed. See, master took this one and Java agent only took this one because the label which is given to the Java agent, it ran on this machine. Okay, others will not come to the agent. If I set up this now, if I set up this job, let's set up this, change this job. Okay, let's configure this job, and I'll give a level expression so that it will go to again agent 1. So for where in the general sections, the restricted job, give the label. Okay, save it. Okay, now let's execute two jobs again. 1, 2. See, Both of them came to the agent 1 because the label set up for. If I execute anything else, it will go to master. It will not come to here. Suppose I execute this sleep 4 and it will come, see, sleep 5. It came to master. It will not go to here. Now you understood clearly the label, what is the usage of the label, how you can use the label to identify on which machine the project should run. Okay. Now it is clear, Shibra?
Yes, Sanjay.
Okay, good.
Actually, my question is like that. For example, for one agent, I have three slaves, one master. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Once the build is started, for example, I have 10 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Anyway, in one slab there is a parallelly you have to run four jobs.
Yes.
Yeah. It in parallelly means the system is very slow,
Mm-hmm.
one after one or something.
Mm-hmm.
How I want to do that? I'm thinking.
Okay. So when you are running in the parallelly, right? You have to suppose
Yeah.
you just executed one job here, right? So this job has
Yeah.
suppose 5 parallelly executions are there. Parallel steps are 5 parallel steps are there, and each step suppose takes more time. So we cannot give all the steps to a particular machine to run. In the 5 stages also, in that will explain in pipeline. Don't worry about that. Any stages, every because all are running on the parallel. And if you run the parallel,
Yes.
suppose if you have 5 steps and it has only 2 executors, it will run 2 executors and the others will be waiting. It will not run. For that, what you have to do,
Yeah. That in queues.
that will be in queues, right? So what for that, what you have to do, you in the parallel jobs, you have to set up different agent name there. You have to give different label there. So how you will get it? You can get that parallel executions by doing the pipeline jobs and you writing the code in the Jenkins. Okay, Jenkins file.
Uh-huh.
You have to write the program. You have
Okay.
to write the automations program. You have to write the script. That we'll see in our next class. Okay,
Okay. Pipeline. You are telling about pipelines.
pipeline exactly. Pipeline jobs. This is so far whatever
Okay.
we did. We did the freestyle jobs only. So in the freestyle configurations
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
cannot set up. So we have to write the script for that automation script, pipeline script. Okay. So
Okay.
if you see it here, we have the pipeline job, right? We have to write this pipeline to achieve that. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So any doubt, or we can wind up this call now? Maybe next class we'll see some other topics. So try go home and try to do practice this one. Whatever we have learned so far, we learn lots of things. Okay.